All right, hello friends. Asher Whitmer with Unfeigned Christianity. Welcome back to my review of my own book, Live Free, Making Sense of Male Sexuality. We're celebrating the 4-year anniversary of it, and there are some things that I would say it differently. If you missed the first episodes of this, whether on the podcast or video on YouTube or Facebook or the blog, go ahead and click the link below. You'll be able to access all of them. You can start at the beginning, kind of give a little rundown of why I'm doing this, and also part of why we're doing it, celebrating the anniversary, but also getting ready for the release of the audio version of Live Free. It's 4 years in the making. It's a bit of an embarrassing part of the project, but it's finally coming. Anyways, today we are looking at chapter 3, Why We Lie to Our Friends About How We're Really Doing. And this chapter is just trying to unpack like what makes us so. In the last chapter we talked about not talking and wondering if we're the only ones. This chapter is trying to unpack like what makes us not talk, what keeps us from not talking, and those lies that we can end up believing about ourselves or even about life that frees us from telling our story, which is actually the first and one of the most important steps in finding freedom. And so I compare it to uh, I played high school baseball growing up, and one year especially, there was a team that we did not play well in during the regular season, and we came into the playoffs against them, and like the whole warm up and prep before the game, like we were all kind of down on ourselves. Like the whole conversation was just like, oh man, like they were bigger than us. We were kind of young 9th and 10th graders, and they were seniors, and they were a lot bigger. And but then for a good 2-3 innings, we were neck and neck with them. We were playing well, but then all of a sudden, our shortstop made an error, and then he tried to overcompensate for making up for that one, and made another error, and then different ones of us started striking out more often, and it just wasn't a very good outcome. They ended up beating us, and they moved on to the playoffs. We went home, and just how sometimes our defeat, we ensure defeat simply because we're so obsessed with the last time when we failed rather than starting anew. And in sports, you hear this. It's almost a cliche. It almost doesn't even have much meaning, but that's in the past. We're going to start with a new slate. It's a new day. Go out and do a new thing, and that's so important. The teams that go deep into playoffs are the teams who can, after a loss, they start over and they go right back out and win again. But when they're down on themselves and then you get in the slump and you start racking up multiple losses, then you get depressed and there's no hope. And so to translate that to a journey of sexual purity, what are the lies that we believe that cause us to not tell anybody? I think for me, a lot of it is, the devil will point out that last time that I failed, and then see you're not actually who you say you are. Or you're not actually free or a Christian or whatever. God's spirit actually isn't in you because you're being tempted in this way. That's a big one, and boy, that's a lie that we really got to unpack, because that is not true. Okay, there are reasons sexualized content is exciting you, and there's emotional, there's physical, and then there's spiritual reasons sometimes too why these things are captivating us, and they're reasons that we can do something about. And it's not just that, like, when you come to faith in Jesus, or if the Holy Spirit were to fill you enough, then all of a sudden no longer would the shot of dopamine that a sexual arousal gives you, no longer would that feel exciting. No, the holiest, most godly person is going to be sexually excited when there's something arousing that's happened and dopamine is released in his brain. Like that's a reality of our bodies. And so but the devil will try to use us and trap us into these lies. I'm curious. I didn't it's a short chapter. I didn't notice anything that I would say differently. I think I said in the last video, it's the later chapters that I think about things that I would say it differently. But I'd love to hear from you. First of all, is there anything that you have questions about, or you're like, I'm not sure about this? But then also, what lies keep you, or maybe you've worked with other people, you have friends with other people, and you've noticed that there are certain lies that keep them from telling their story. That's specifically what we're targeting, is the things that hold us back from opening up, because that's a crucial piece to starting a journey of freedom.